So I just recently got back from my Germany and little adventure into Poland, and I knew what I was doing there was going to be potent. And at one point, it became very clear to me how potent it was. And after I got into Poland and went on like a 40-mile hike in the middle of the wilderness out there, I offered sacraments to the land. I made offerings, had a ceremony. And when I came back into the city, I met two individuals at the tram station, and I could just feel right off the bat that there was something very off about them. And I was thinking, hey, I just came from a really high energy end of the spectrum place, and now I'm greeted with two individuals who are encompassing a very negative space. I was thinking, okay, well, this is what I do. I help people heal, and if you're really needing help, then, So I got myself invited back to their house, and we sat there and we were talking, and we had a couple drinks. One of them left the room, and I began to share what it was that I was doing out there. And he looked at me, and with this devilish smile on his face, he said, "Today will be the day you always remember. You will never forget what happened today." And I had this feeling in my gut that it kicked on, and I was thinking, the only way I'm getting out of here is if I make a mess of this entire place. And then something in me switched, and I started drawing energy symbols all over the room. And then something really strange happened. He was having a struggle in his own body, and he started twitching, and then he stopped, and he looked up at me, and in perfect English, which was beyond his capacity, he said, "You need to go home. It's time to go home." And he stood up, and twitching while he walked, he escorted me out of the building, down the stairs, called me a cab, and then walked over and sat down on the sidewalk, just staring like a broken shell. And as the cab was pulling away and I was taking off, he stood up and he looked around like he was confused, and then walked back inside. And after meditating later that night about, some really strange events, one of the beings that I asked to watch over me as I traveled borrowed that individual's body so that I could peacefully be brought out of a very bad situation. And the coolest piece about that was one being. And over the course of this trip, I made friends with probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions. It's my understanding that being able to communicate with these beings and entities is not so commonplace. So when offered, and when an individual can actually give them the opportunity to get out of that space and transition into what's known as like the afterlife, that's also a rare opportunity as well. So if one spirit could get me out of a really bad situation, could hundreds of thousands do?